And so this is my attempt at recreating the JT origin story, if you will. Hey everyone. So recently we were having an event, the Stand and Slurp, which is, it's a way that we serve tea. It's a way that we not just serve tea, but it's an event we have where we can accommodate many people coming in to try 8 different teas here at the tea house. At this event, somebody asked, how did you become a tea entrepreneur? It seems like lifetimes ago. Currently I'm 50 years old. This story starts when I was in my 20s. And I was in the Kung Fu school, and I remember looking up on the wall and seeing some Chinese calligraphy and thinking to myself, well, Josh, everyone says Chinese is so hard. And I knew one thing about myself is that I'm the type of person that really likes a challenge. So I said to myself, everyone says Chinese is so hard, and you're the kind of person that likes the challenge. So why not learn Chinese? And the first thought that went through my mind was, that's going to be impossible. That's going to be so difficult, and it's going to take so much time. Another thought came into my mind that was like, well, you'll never know unless you try. And at that time I was 25. Okay, so all that experience that I was telling you about, that was about 5 years of my life. Graduating college, doing all those jobs, and eventually then deciding to move back to Taiwan. And when I moved back, it was when I was 25 years old, and there was a group of my really close friends that had all decided to move there together. There was one person that spoke Mandarin really well. There was me, I could speak Chinese, and then there was another guy that didn't speak any Chinese at all. We'd all go out and have our individual day, and then we'd come back to the apartment that we shared, and we would sit and have tea, and we would talk and ask each other, like, what did you do? Where did you go? What did you see? Where did you eat? Because we were all really new to this area. And especially like the guy that didn't speak Chinese, we would be like, well, what did you do? I can't even imagine living in southern Taiwan where English isn't very widely used. English is kind of like in Taipei, it's a very international city. And so a lot of people speak English, or they want to speak English. And so it's like pretty easy to get around if you don't speak Chinese. But in Tainan, it's pretty much like people would just even look at me as a Westerner and just speak Chinese to me. They're not gonna try and speak English. And we would just share over tea, we would just share the stories of like, what did you do today? What did you see? What did you learn? Where did you go? You know, because we were trying to get our bearings and learn about, you know, this place we were in. It's a pretty amazing city. And there was a lot of teachers and a lot of cultural knowledge. And I had a friend that introduced me to an acupuncture teacher and a fortune teller. He was a fortune teller / acupuncture master. Every night, eventually me and this guy, well, first he did some healing. He did some acupuncture on me for a while and treated me, and I became much, it helped a lot. So in one of those sessions, he says to me, kind of offhand, he's like, you should learn acupuncture. I was like, whoa, that sounds really difficult. I think that's pretty difficult, isn't it? And he said, are you willing to stick needles in yourself? And I thought about it for a minute, and I was like, yeah. And then he's like, well, then I can teach you, because I'll teach you how to do it, and then you'll stick the needle in yourself, and you'll have that feeling of the needle. So then you'll understand. So then it's easy. And I said, well, how long will it take to learn? And he looks up and he's like, about a year. And I'm not sure if he was just saying that or whatever. But the thing about that teacher is that, so then eventually I decided, okay, I'm going to take this guy up on his offer. I'm going to learn acupuncture. So every night I would go to his house and I would study with him. Basically every night he would say, you want to drink some tea? And I'd say, sure. So then he'd make the tea. He'd make it in a certain teapot. He'd talk about the teapot, why he was using that teapot. He'd talk about the tea, and the tea became a big part of the experience. This went on, and then he would say, and then eventually he was like, you want to make some tea? And I would say, no, because when I go home, I can't sleep at night. And then he said, that's the best part. And I was like, oh, this guy's crazy, right? But he was also one of the things he said was, hey, we should go to the mountains and buy tea from this tea farmer I like to visit. And so the first time I went to the tea mountains, it was with this guy to buy tea. And we went to Dongding, and he took me to this old friend of his, this old farmer. And this guy had the nickname of Badan or Juan Badan. Some weird nickname because that means like basically like rotten egg. I don't know. The story went that they had done their labeling one time and it had come out wrong, so they just decided to stay with it as if that was a good, unique distinguisher. But this guy's tea was really good. As we were sitting there drinking the tea, and we'd go through the different batches of tea that this guy had, we drink each one, and then eventually he said, well, and he got out a special one that he had stored away in the freezer. And so when my teacher drank that, he said, oh, this one is the one. And I was really taken aback because he ended up spending about $3,000. I watched him hand over the money on this entire batch of tea. And I was sort of like, what are you doing? And his response was, this tea will never be here again. This specific batch of tea, it's only this batch. This is an agricultural product, so it will never be repeatable, the conditions and what. So when my customers come, when my clients come to get acupuncture, when I give them a cup of this tea, they'll know, again, it will verify in their mind that I have special sort of talent and ability. So anyway, I got some of that tea as well. And as this was going on, eventually my friend group, they started to recognize that I was the one that had the good tea in. And so they would ask me for tea, or they would get tea from me. And I started, and then eventually I went to, when I came to the US to visit my parents or friends and do a sort of, every year I would come here for about a month. And then I would bring the tea. I would bring 2 suitcases full of tea and share that tea and help people get into tea. It was just like a really fun thing because I had friends that had gone to Stanford and I had friends that had traveled the world, but people hadn't experienced tea like this. And it was so fun to me to be able to expose them to that. And when I'd make the tea, and then some people, they really get it right away. As soon as they taste the tea, whoa, their eyes light up. They're just like,